Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk about a little touchy topic. Do you need a financial planner when you are going through a divorce? Whenever somebody thinks of a divorce, they first think of a lawyer, attorney, whatever you want to call, saying somebody who will do the paperwork. However, divorce could be the biggest financial decision of your life, whether happily or unhappily, whether you are asking for a divorce or your partner is asking for a divorce, it doesn't matter. It has the biggest financial implication. So let us look at very simple things. You and your husband are going through a divorce. Your husband has asked for a divorce, and you realize that all your investments are also held with him in either or survivor fashion, and his investments are also held with you as the second holder and in either or survivor mode. Now, one thing which you have to do, on which you have no choice, is to redeem all these funds and make it into a single name. If you have a minor child, if you have a major child, you can make the major child the nominee rather than being a second holder. But otherwise, you could make your parents the second holder, right? Again, either or survivor, but with your mother or father as a second holder. That is the other thing which you can do, but you have to do. Unfortunately, I do not know the tax implication of this. Now, suppose you've got a portfolio worth 1 crore and you need to make these changes. You have no choice, but that 1 crore gets redeemed and 1 crore gets reinvested because you don't need the money. Now, theoretically, this is not a sale and repurchase in your head, because you're saying, oh, I withdrew from fund A and I invested in fund A. So where is the question? But unfortunately, what has happened because of the change in folio, it will be captured by the authorities as a sale and buyback. So there will be long-term capital gain or short-term capital gain implications. Now, this is something which the industry has to go and talk to the income tax department and say whether what kind of a transaction it is it taxable or not taxable. Unfortunately, as of now, it looks like it is taxable. Similarly, if you change your financial advisor, any of those things, there will be there will be huge tax implications on whatever you do. For example, let's say the divorcing couple is a doctor and the husband decides to keep the clinic and the wife decides to keep the house as a part of the settlement. Now, again, there will be a question of the husband's name has to be removed and the wife has to be made a single owner in the property. There could be tax implications. There will be definitely property tax implications. There could be income tax implications, saying somebody is selling, somebody is buying, right? So when there is a name change, the society will charges have to be paid. The income tax will capture it, so you may have to pay capital gains tax on that. You will have to find out how the whole thing works out, right? So do you need a finance professional while going through a divorce? I think the answer is yes. There is absolutely no doubt that you require a person who will handhold you and say, okay, this has to be done, this has to be done, this has to be done. All your investments are either or survivor, but still you don't want the second person to go and do something hanky-panky and then worry about it. So the way to look at it is, the person asking for the divorce is in a position of strength. He or she knows what they have to do, so they are better prepared. For the other person, it comes as a big shock. So what are all the things that you have to look at, and why do you need a finance professional? So there are 3-4 things which are very critical for you financially speaking when going through a divorce, right? Let us look at them. So while answering questions about divorce, there are some few important questions to ask. First is, how competent are you in handling your finances, especially without the help of the person who has been doing it? Suppose you are a woman and all the money has always been managed by your husband. Will he give you a fair deal while doing this? That's a very difficult question for you to answer. I don't think lawyers are trained well enough to know how to make that distinction between what should be kept by one person and what should be kept by the other person, because right now they are fighting too much and the noise levels are too high, so they are not able to sit across the table and negotiate. So it is very important that a financial planner steps in. So if you are a person who doesn't really know how to handle your money and you have never handled it, it is your husband who has done it. I know cases where the wife who has done it, where one person knows everything and does everything. chances are that the other person may or may not treat you well. So if you want to be treated well, better to have a financial advisor, because lawyers are not trained in understanding mutual funds, insurance policies, etc. For example, the policy which is very important for you is the policy of the other spouse. So if you are a man, the wife's policy is very important, because there you are the nominee. Similarly, if you are the wife, the policy in your husband's name is more important. So you have to ensure that your husband pays the premium, or you take over that policy and say, okay, in this policy I will continue to pay the premium, whatever it is. But understand that the policy in your name, the beneficiary is just other spouse, right? So you can't afford to do that. But or you decide to say that, okay, both of us will change the nominees. You make your mother the nominee, he makes his mother the nominee, or if he has a brother, he makes his brother the nominee, something like that. I'm assuming that this couple who is divorcing does not have children. Convert all your either or survivor into a different name, we spoke about it. There could be tax implications, I'm not very sure. Convert your real estate, again there could be tax implications. So the question is, the person asking for divorce is better prepared. So the other person has to ask the following questions: where am I today? How much do I know about where am I today? If I don't even know where am I today, how do I start negotiating with my husband, assuming that you are a housewife and husband is the earner? How do I negotiate how much to get, right? So how much is it by right, how much do I emotionally, and what will happen that if I don't ask for these things just because I want a divorce very quickly, is that a very sensible thing to do? So that is another question that you have to answer for yourself. So where am I? How much do I understand? Where will I be at the end of the divorce? Because a divorce could take 2, 3, 5 years. So at that stage, where would I be? And then where would I be 10, 15, 20 years in after this divorce? Because I don't have enough money to pay for children's education and my own retirement. So there is only one child, but the father also has to contribute for it, right? So if you're a woman and you say, no, I want to look after my daughter because my daughter cannot live with the father or whatever reasons, you have to make sure that the father pays money for the child's upkeep till the child is maybe 21, right? So you need to, for all this, you will need a financial planner who should be able to tell you. And then if you do not know where you will be 10, 15, 20 years later, will you have enough money for retirement? Will you have enough money for your daughter's education? Maybe daughter's education is 5 years away. Maybe daughter's marriage is 10 years away. Will I have money for all that? Is it the joint responsibility because we've had a kid? Is it a joint responsibility? Or I know cases where the father says, I will not pay you anything, and the girl goes into a depression. She has to then be taken to a psychiatrist. All these things happen, right? So having a financial advisor who understands what you're doing, who understands you, is very useful. So before you start negotiation for divorce proceedings, better consult a financial consultant and ask him what are the questions to be asked and how the whole conclusion, how the whole thing has to be brought to a conclusion. Thank you.